Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's your girl, Demi Hendrix, and this is Real Talk. Hey, I am so excited about tonight. A little nervous, a little anxiety, a little PTSD, because of course we are still honoring and in support of Domestic Violence Month. Um, I have an excellent show, an excellent guest with an amazing story. Um, Inspiring story. Let's just put it that way because just talking to her, she made me feel better about love. So we're going to get to all of that in a second, but I did want to go over some facts. But before I do that, you know the routine. When you come in, say, hey, how you doing? And share. Let's go, y'all. I'm going live. I'm going to turn down all of my devices because you guys know I forget every time. Let's see who's in the room. Who's in the room? Come on in, you guys, as you come in again. Let me know you're here. Let me know you have shared. And we're going to get started. I'm going to go over a few housekeeping and give you some facts on domestic violence. Again, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as domestic happens every day of the year, we're going to go over some of those facts and numbers. Um, October is not the only time that I will be speaking on it, but because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I'm going to be punching in a little bit harder. Everybody that I have on the show this month is definitely someone who has experienced it, gone through it, or experienced it through a loved one, or an expert, or a counselor, or someone who is just basically wanting to support just like you and I do. So as you come in, say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, E, I see you, boo. I see you, boo. Shortly, I'm going to take down my phone because I'm going to need my phone for the information. So I won't see you guys as you come in. Again, just let me know you're here so I can know what's going on with you guys. Say hello, give you a shout out. And then we're going to go over some facts. And I'm going to bring in my guest. Hey, E. Hey, Ken. You finally joined me. What's up? 805 in the house. Got my Oxnard brother in the house. What's going on? Come on in, you guys. Don't forget to share. Very important information we're going to go over tonight. So very important you share. I'm going to tag. Let me see if I can figure out how to pin information. So I'm going to put down. Got to put my specs on. Come on in, you guys. Come on in, RT Mob. I'm excited. I am going to put some information for domestic violence hotline and for our local Las Vegas community. We are going to put also down the shade tree information. So I need an assistant. E, I told you I need to hire you as my assistant because I always forget to do this. Come on in, you guys. I'm just doing some housekeeping, making sure that the information is provided just in the event someone who is watching tonight that is dealing with or knows someone who is dealing with violence, they have the information that is provided to make those calls. So that number for domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-7233. I'm going to put that in there. I'm also going to put the shade tree, which is local here in Las Vegas. We are going to put that down as well. And that number is 702 385 0072. All right, y'all, let's get it. All right. So, again, if you are in the room, share and definitely rotate it because there's a lot of great information I'm getting ready to give right about now. Here we go. So, I pulled up quite a bit of information and I'm going to read some stuff, just some stuff that you need to know. I can't say it's my favorite, but it's something that I really relate to, that I still deal with regarding domestic violence. I, again, am a 21-year survivor of domestic violence. And when I tell you, it is a journey to write about, and I have. So, just wanted to go over some facts and information. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States alone. Equally, approximately 10 million men and women each year. Domestic violence can cause an adverse ripple effect on the emotional and psychological state of a survivor. Panic attacks, which I just had, post traumatic stress syndrome, which is PTSD, suicidal tendencies, substance abuse, and depression are all common symptoms of someone who has suffered from domestic violence. Domestic violence rates are higher among homeless women with serious mental illnesses. A study with 99 is episodically homeless women with serious mental illness found that 70% were physically abused and 30.4% were sexually abused by a partner. Women between the ages of 18 and 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner. Many people who experience domestic violence struggle with finding a way to cope with what they have gone through. Persons living with mental illnesses are overrepresented in homelessness populations, prisons, and often experience economic injustice. While being exposed to a traumatic experience can trigger mental health problems, treatment can help a domestic violence survivor get back on their feet. Uh-oh. That's a first. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, first. Okay, I lost my screen there. So, um, there's a lot that we're going to cover tonight. Um, I also just kind of want to go over the numbers, which is unbelievable. I read this today and I was like, whoa. We're going to go over this real quick. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence. Intimate partner contact, sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking, which with impacts such as injuries. Fearlessness, post-traumatic stress disorder, use of victim services, contraction of sexually transmitted diseases, etc. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. This includes a range of behaviors, i.e., slapping, shoving, pushing, and in some cases might not be considered domestic violence. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. 1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner. Data is unavailable on male victims. So, with that being said, a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. The information here, I said I was going to write a disclaimer, so I'm just going to go off of the top of my head. The views and opinions that will be vocalized tonight or any other night are not necessarily the views and opinions of Boss Lady of Sass Entertainment. I will say that I do support domestic violence awareness, and I do support the just stopping it, period, because I have been a victim. And even if I wasn't a victim, I want it to stop, because that could be my daughter, it could be my granddaughter, it could be my niece, it could be someone close to me. So this is why I'm using this platform, especially this month, to vocalize why I feel so strongly about this. This is my message, and I wanted to get to someone, at least one person tonight or any other night that I do the show. I wanted to hit someone that needs to hear this. I want to save at least one life while I do this. So with that said, tonight, my guest is a friend of mine. She actually, and it's crazy how we met. We actually met because I worked for her cardiologist. Very nice woman. Her husband's a wonderful man. I met her and we got to talking and seen her several times, and we kind of got into some deep conversation. I'm very personable with my patients, and we got into into some deep conversations, and she let me know a little bit about her story. So tonight is actually going to be the first time that I hear her story full, and so will you. So we're going to bring her on. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Sherry Williams.
Hey.
Hey, give me a second. Let's get you up. Hold on. Okay, there you
Hey.
are.
There's
Hey,
me.
Sherry. Hold on. Let me change my layout so everybody know we're both here.
Yeah,
Hey,
there you go.
Sherry.
There you go.
How are you today?
I'm pretty good. I've got health issues still, but I'm doing okay and still going to the heart doctor where we met. But
Yeah. So, I know you weren't feeling last week. I told
yeah,
everybody last week
sick.
that you were supposed to be here and
Yeah,
that
I
we were
was
going to bring you
very
back.
sick.
Thank God we were
Yeah,
able to do that today. So
yeah.
thank you for being here today, and thank
Thank
you
you for
for
having me.
allowing me to basically kind of tiptoe in your journey through domestic violence. So Sherry is a 12-year survivor. She is a former resident of Alabama. She
Hmm.
moved here from Alabama to Las Vegas in 2009. And at that time, Sherry, that's when you were pretty much escaping
Yes,
from the abuse that you were enduring,
yes.
correct?
Years
Tell
and
us
years and
about that.
years and started. Well,
Tell
my
us about
domestic
that.
violence started in 20. So I'm sorry, 1973. I was 15 years old. Was My parents was very poor, and we lived way down in the middle of nowhere. And I met this guy from the little town that I ended up in later on in life. And he was he looked like he had money, but it wasn't that. He just pretended he cared about me and stuff. And so we got together, and he told my mom and daddy he would promise them that I'd finish high school, which I did, if I could go with him, and he'd take care of me. Well, everything was fine till about 3 months later. He hit me for the first time.
Mm.
I was a little bitty skinny girl. You can't tell it now. I was then, and I was only 15. I weighed 92 pounds. And we went to this catfish place in Columbus, Mississippi. He ordered me this big platter. There was no way I could eat nothing, just a few bites off of that. And he told me I wasn't going to waste his food, and he backhanded me in the cafe. And
Oh,
of course, that's the deep South. Nobody says nothing. Nobody cares. And I was shocked because I had never seen that behavior before. I never heard my daddy and mom. This is for real. I never heard my daddy and mama argue. I never heard them fuss. And this just it, it scared me to death. And then I tried to go back home, and he told me no, and I couldn't drive at the time, and so I just basically was stranded. And so that went on for years, years and years and years. I ended up in the hospital a lot of times where he beat me. On my senior picture day, I had to get my girlfriends to help me comb my hair back because I had 37 stitches stapled in
oh
the back of my
my
head.
God.
And my friends just kept saying, "Why can't you leave him? Why don't you leave him?" And I said, "If I do, he'll kill me." And they said, "No, he won't." I said, "Yes, he will." And I tried to leave several times. A lot of people don't understand. They put it in your mind, things will happen to you. And he
Yes.
really did do stuff. He burnt my mom and daddy's house down, thinking I would be in it.
Okay.
And
So hold on a second.
yes,
So he burned your mother father's house down,
because I
thinking
had
you were
left.
going to be there.
Yeah, I had left him. I had left him. That's the first time I left him. He thought I was there. He had the guys that he hired do it to set the. He told them exactly where my bedroom was in the house, and they set the fire on the back porch by my bedroom. Well, my daddy got. He was an elderly man. He got twisted around in the house, and if some friends hadn't been going down the road, they stopped and got my daddy out. My daddy would have burned up.
Oh my God.
So I went back because I was scared, because because every time I tried to leave him, if I get on the Greyhound bus, somehow or another, I don't know if he went to the Greyhound and threatened them or what he did, he would always beat the bus wherever I was going. So I got where I didn't even trust my mom and daddy. I wouldn't tell them when I tried to leave. I wouldn't even tell them where I was going because he'd beat the bus.
Wow.
But over the years, he tied me up with extension cords. I'm scared. I was scared of what I'm scared. I don't swim, so and he would fill the bathtub half up with water. He would hold me under the water till I'd lose my breath. And the very kicker, I mean, he did lots of things to me, lots of things. I'd go to school. He wouldn't let me wear pants because it was against his religion. And I'd go to school with belt buckle prints up and down my legs where he beat me.
Oh my God.
Black eyes always. This side of my face, I'm not supposed to blow my nose because it broke my sinuses in there. At the time, I didn't have no insurance. They wanted to insert a balloon in there to make my sinuses work. So this whole side of my face was broke.
Wow.
And so I was always scared. I couldn't talk to nobody. I have to look down like this. If he sent me to this day, if I go in the store, me and my husband go get somebody to carry us to the store. He don't care if I'm in there all day. If I go by myself, he'll call and check on me, make sure I'm all right. That's it. But to this day, if somebody's waiting on me in the car, it brings all those memories back. I run in and try to hurry up and get out because I know when I was with him, he would slap me or beat me or something because he'd say I was in there talking to somebody. I took too long. So now I still can't handle going in the store and somebody waiting on me in the car. I just can't do it. I can't. I know I'm saying a lot because I don't know where all to start because they was just so much.
I get it. I so totally get it.
Finally, the last time that I was with him was in 1978. I had graduated high school in 77. And he got where he locked me. We had a big double wide called modular homes. It was really nice. But he put a padlock on the outside of the door.
Oh my gosh.
Locked me and my daughter inside. And he'd put pebbles in the door. And if somebody knocked on the door, if one of those pebbles was gone, he'd say I was talking to a man outside the window.
Wow.
He would dangle my keys like this and throw them in the seat of the car, knowing I couldn't get out. So one day I couldn't handle no more. I just couldn't handle more. I said, I'd just rather leave. And if he finds me and kills me, I don't care. I got to go. So I took a kitchen chair and I beat out we had a bay window. I beat out the bay window. I put my daughter outside, told her to stand there and look for glass and then get down because the window broke. Which I told her to go get in the car. She went and got in the car. So I crawled out the window. I got cut up, but I didn't care. So I took my daughter down to my mom's house and I wrote a little thing giving her permission to keep my daughter because if I thought if he found me, I didn't want him to kill both of us. But he told me he'd kill her too.
Right.
So I left, But he had put in my head that I was ugly. I was fat. I weighed 95 pounds or something. I was ugly. I was fat. That nobody never would want me. And that I'd always be ugly and this stupid. And that's what I believed for years till now. I got a man now. I really got a man.
I get that too.
But over the years, I seem to pick the same kind. Every time I get one is a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse. So finally, I've just, I couldn't
give up.
Yeah, I did. But then I met this man on Facebook. And
So at what point, what led you up to 2009 and coming here to Vegas?
Well, I had left him in 78 and I had about 3 relationships between them. And then in 2009, I was with a guy. He wasn't as much physical. He was physical, but he was more mental and abusive, telling me how stupid I was. He didn't help with the bills. He paid nothing in the house. I did all the bills. He owed, sounds crazy, but if you're from the South, you would know what I'm saying. The county we lived in was a dry county, so we didn't have alcohol. And so he worked for this man, this bank man that practically owned the town. He worked for him making $10 an hour cash money, and he worked at least 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. he would owe his whole paycheck to the county line for beer and liquor for him and his friends because he was trying to buy friendships because nobody didn't like him. Nobody liked him, but they just tolerated him because of that.
Right.
And
Right.
so I'm going to admit that I was drinking and I was doing some other things that I didn't need to do. And I'm serious. If I hadn't met Ed, I don't think I'd be alive now because I just didn't care anymore. I didn't care. I
Yeah.
didn't care how I looked. I was really, really, really super overweight. And Ed fell in love with my face, he said. And he was kidding, and he said, as long as you're not Jabba the Hutt, I don't care. And I said, I don't even know what that is, so I don't know where I am or not.
Right.
But
we're gonna get to Ed.
okay.
Definitely get to.
But
Get
I was
to
I
Ed.
was down.
I love that story.
I had no I didn't have no self. I didn't have no nothing. I didn't think I looked good. I
You
didn't
took
want to look.
everything.
I didn't care. They took everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, did you have or were there resources available to you back then,
No.
Sherry?
Well, see, I would get a restraining order, but where we lived out in the country, by the time they could do anything, he'd be done gone. You know what I'm saying? So, and plus,
Yeah.
he had money, and in the South, money talks. And
Absolutely.
if you're with a good old boy, you're with a good old boy. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot. Yes.
But then I flipped. This sounds weird, and I don't mean to sound like this, but I went from white to black. And I thought, well, because all the ladies always seem to be happy. All my other white girlfriends was always happy. But I must have picked the wrong ones because they was just as bad as the white. But they in their good times we was happy, but then the bad times came out, and I'm thinking, good God, well, nothing's for me, I guess, But
yeah, well, the sad part to that, Sherry, and the reality of that is domestic violence has no discrimination.
Exactly.
None.
None.
I've been doing some research. And I try to do as much research as I can before I actually bring forth the information that I obtained, so that I know that I'm sure that it's fact. But domestic violence is very high in both Black and white communities, white collar communities, very high.
The sad part about like people like me from the South, they still to this day don't think it's wrong for their man to slap their woman around, or for the man to go to a group of men and say, well, let's go home. I got to go home. This old lady and blah, go get her to blah, blah, blah. And, just tell me, they don't think nothing's wrong with that. And if you go to the sheriff's department, nobody don't help you. There's in Alabama, there was no women's groups where I live, nowhere. There was nobody to talk to. You was just there. That's it.
Yeah. So my experience with that, it's funny you should mention that. My experience with that is my abuser, his parents were too from the South. And I still kind of get mixed information as to the history. But what I do know is it wasn't just one, it was both of his parents. And that's just basically what he and his siblings grew up to know and to see.
Yeah.
My situation was that their family was very well known in the area in Pontiac, Michigan, in the area that we lived in. They were very well known, and politically, it kind of, just the way the neighborhood they lived in, they were real known. And it was a bunch of them. It's a grip of them. Mm-hmm. Where I kind of slipped through the cracks where my ex was a community server. I won't say what kind of community server. He was a community server. And I spoke about this last week with Lady Jennifer. I've gone to jail twice for basically being the abuser. And really, I was defending myself. And I'm going to say this real quick, too, just as a disclaimer. I don't recommend this. I don't recommend retaliating. But I do recommend doing what you need to do to get out of that safely alive.
Yes.
But I had to become the abuser. and not just popping them up against the head and doing what I wanted to do, but when he utilized me, I fought back. At that time, it was a couple times where I fought back, I went to jail. And the main reason why I went to jail was not only because there was evidence, but because he was this community server that the police knew of and was very familiar with. So, and then not to mention the level that his family was in the community. So I was fighting against a lot of demons there.
Yeah.
Not knowing anybody. I mean, I had some friends, but I didn't have family there. The only family that I did have there were my mom and dad, but my mom and dad were totally oblivious. You know, they were, just like you said, they're also from the South.
Yeah.
I won't say that my dad abused my mother, but my dad had tendencies. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. So it wasn't uncommon for them to hear about this. And when I brought it to attention, it was kind of like, and for me, being a young girl back then, having young children, being a young married woman, I got married at the age of 18. I got married in college, and I married my college sweetheart. I got married in college, and we actually had children right away. And when we got married, I was pregnant. The abuse didn't start until I was pregnant with my second child. I was 4 months pregnant, so about a year and a half, a little under a year and a half into the marriage, the abuse started. I had no clue what the hell was going on, although I did, because what I experienced prior, I was running from, which ran me into this character. Okay, I won't get too much into that because it's all in the book. But I ran from one situation to this situation, and I experienced it at levels I never thought I would. So with that being said, when I asked you about the resources, no, there was none, because there was none 20, 25 years ago for me.
No.
And the little resources that they did give me, they could have kept.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't get nothing.
Right. So that's why I sit here with you and others talking about it, because although I am a 21-year survivor, I still have the PTSD. I still suffer. I have nightmares. I have dreams. I dreamed the other night. I woke up and he was laying right next to me. And I woke up and I was just like, now grant you, we are actually on speaking terms. We speak when we need to speak regarding our children.
Yeah.
But other than that, I let him have his life. He lets me have mine. Do you communicate? Because I believe your abuser is your daughter's father, or
the first one, and he's not alive anymore. He got killed in a car accident. But the thing about it, before he died, he called my mama. I was taking care of my mama, and he come up there, and he wanted to talk to me. And I told him, if you come in my house, I was going to call the police. I'd been gone for years, and I just came back. And because in 78, I left the state of Alabama, moved to Mississippi, and I stayed there for about 5 years. Since when I came back, he wanted to talk to me. And he said, I'll come in your house with your mom. We'll talk. She can listen. I don't want to be alone with you because I know you're scared of me. So I said, well, I don't want to hear your lies because you're too good at it. You've did so much to me. I don't want to hear it. And he said, I just really, really need to talk to you. So I don't know if this sounds weird or not. I don't know if he had a feeling he was fixing to get killed or die or what. I don't know, because he practically begged me to let him talk to me. And he had got married, and he had 2 kids with the other one, and he was doing her worse than he did me. But she stayed with him. She wouldn't leave. But anyway, that's that.
So, Sherry, do you mind sharing what you talked about? Was it, I apologize? Was it remorse?
He came in, he sat down, he brought some soda, and we were sitting there, and me and Mama had some soda, and he told me he wanted to talk to me. And he said that he apologized. And I said, yeah, well, okay. And he said, no, I'm serious. I really apologize. He said, I was young too. We was young. He was young, but I'm telling you, he had money. on a different subject, to show you how the police didn't bother him, him and another man stomped a man to death.
Oh my
Stomped
God.
because he didn't dim his lights. And the reason for that was he thought that man was talking to me. He did not even go to jail.
What?
Never did.
And
But
you know, the sad thing about it, we're still seeing, not to this extent, but we're still seeing this cycle. We're still seeing
yeah,
abusers walking around free
yeah.
on the street.
Well,
I
on
was
a,
sent to I was sent to management. I was sent to counseling where I had to sit in front of a nun and talk to this nun about what I was going through. And I was telling Lady Jennifer and everybody that was listening last week, I finally looked at her couple times, like the second or third time I met with her, and said, "What in the world
yeah,
could you help me with? And how can you relate to what I'm telling you?" So at the end of the day, I never got the help. Let me take that back. I take that back because I'm not going to use this platform and say I never got the help. I got the help, but I had to, number one, separate myself from that man, put miles between me and that man, his children, and move from Michigan to Las Vegas.
yeah,
And from that time on to even now to this day, I got the help. And I'm going to tell you where I got the help from. And you know, I got it from the man upstairs.
yes, yes.
The only time I can honestly say that I really got what I needed was when I moved here to Nevada. And I've always been a woman of my faith and of faith. I've always been a church. Actually, we were church going. He was in the choir. I was in the nurses board.
Yeah,
And there would be times where we'd be fighting, getting ready, going to church.
yeah,
And he would be in the choir, and I'd be at the back of the church with
yeah,
my little cute person's hat,
yeah,
looking at him like this man up here praising God and singing.
yeah.
And he just
Exactly.
fought me before we got
Exactly. Exactly. Same thing here.
So,
This one, same way. Went to church every Sunday with me. Go out and beat a man to death on Monday. Really. But I want to tell you something. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I'm sorry, but if I don't tell you now,
fine, that's fine.
he had 2 children with this lady. When he got killed, I'll tell you about the conversation in a minute. But when he got killed, his son was only 3 months old. So his son never met his dad. But do you know? I know him very well, because I know him. Because my mama used to babysit for him. How weird is that? But anyway,
Yeah.
his son is, he was 3 months old when he died, and he's in his 30s now. He's exactly like his dad.
Wow.
Loudmouthed, very
Oh,
prejudiced,
wow.
very prejudiced. Oh, can't keep a woman because he can't keep his hands off of her. And he never knew his dad. Never knew him.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure his mama didn't teach him to be like that, because she wasn't like that. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
he asked me about the conversation. He come in and he practically cried. He begged me for forgiveness. He said he's sorry that he did what he did. And he said he still loved me in his own way. And he said that at that time when he did that, he was thinking he was trying to keep me from leaving him because he's afraid I was going with somebody else. And all this blah, blah, this. And, I said, well, okay, but whatever. In my heart, I didn't forgive him. But just to get rid of him, I said I did. And then 2 weeks later, what was the weird thing? 2 weeks later, my ex-brother-in-law was the sheriff of that county. He came to my house instead of Jeannie's house to tell me that he got killed. He come to me. He didn't go to his wife. He came to me. And
Wow.
I asked my brother-in-law then, and it hurt me because he's dead. I mean, I'm going to admit it really hurt me because we just had a conversation like a week or so, before. But anyway, I said, if you can come to me and tell me that he passed away, why couldn't you come to me when I called you when he was beating me? He said, well, Sherry, you know how it is that family business stays in family business. I said, but that wasn't business. I said, because of you and your team, I ended up in a mental hospital for 6 months. I didn't even know my name because He had tied me up on a railroad track. I might not can handle this. And he saw how close he could shoot at me without killing me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Sherry. Take your time, baby. At some point, if it gets too difficult to relive, you let me know. Okay.
And he said that he would kill my daughter. And that's the last thing I remember for 6 months.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
It's
been a
okay,
long
Sherry.
time, but it still hurts.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It needs to be told because there might be somebody listening that could think I can't get out, but you can need to tell somebody. Nowadays, you can tell somebody. Call 211, call 611, call any kind of 11. Somebody will come. Seriously, they'll come.
Yes. Right.
Don't live like I did. Please don't live like I did. Because I got where I didn't care about myself. I've had 2 weight loss surgeries, but then I still eat. I got an eating disorder. So I eat and eat and eat. I gain it all back. Ed tells me he loves me, and I believe that. I don't love myself. I don't love myself. I just can't.
Well, let me just say this to you, Sherry. I think I've known you, about 5 years now?
Yes.
I follow you on Facebook, as well as I know you personally.
Yes.
I had to come to the realization that, and it may sound a little senseless for me to say this, but everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Everyone's story is different. And at some point, we as individuals need to realize why we went through what we went through. And once we realize that, we need to use that so that we can share it with others, so that they can realize it. And that was my whole point for doing not only the other interviews this month, but this one, because somebody does need to hear it. And it's hard. We have to relive.
That's been what, 40 years ago? 40 years ago. Still.
Yeah, that trauma still there. So let me just say this. That was what I was trying to get to. You are here for a reason. You're not ugly. Okay. You're not fat. You aren't any of those things that men told you 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And Ed proves that. Okay. So what I need you to remember every time you look at Ed, if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say it, look at Ed and say it. Because you are loved, because God made you how he made you. He didn't make no mistakes.
That's right.
We went through what we went through because, of course, we made choices. But again, some of those things were written for us. I truly believe that. So that we could use platforms such as Real Talk with Demi Hendrix or other platforms to share our stories, so that somebody else doesn't have to go through this, or somebody else can hear there's help. Somebody else needs to know that they're not alone. They're not the only one. That's right. I want you to know that you are not alone. After 21 years, again, like I said, last night I had a dream, woke me up in the middle of the night. I don't sleep. I haven't slept since I left this man. I have to take medications prescribed by my doctor to sleep. This is not something I'm proud of. This is what I'm open and transparent to share with you and everybody that's watching, and anybody that needs to hear this. This is not something that just goes away.
No, don't.
Okay. So with that said, since I brought up Ed, your knight in shining armor, tell us about your inspiring story here. How did you meet Ed?
Well, one day I was on one of my Facebooks. I got 2 or 3 Facebooks because I play games and I friend myself. It's weird. But I was on my main Facebook at the time. It's Sherry Angel. And this man, he had a tuxedo looking thing on, and he just looked like a fancy man. Like I'm from the South, you don't see that, you know. And so
Uh-huh.
I wasn't a chatter back then, but all at once I just said, I'm going to see what this man's got to say. And so I said, hi. And he said, hi. and and we chatted a few minutes. And so the next day we started talking and talking. And about after 4 days, and this was so not me, he said, are you married? And I said, why, you want to get with me? He said, yes, I do.
Wow.
And anyway, we started laughing and talking on the phone and having a good time. But now he witnessed by hearing some of my abuse. The dude I was living with come in and catch me on the phone. He'd grab the phone out of my hand, and Ed could hear him hit me.
Oh.
And that was in August of 2009. And he kept saying, you need to come to me. You really need to come to me. He said, I don't know what's going on, but I know something's not right. And so I just kept putting it off because I had some personal reasons that I won't go into. And I didn't want to leave the town, but I knew I couldn't live in the town because of the dude. So one day Ed said, he said, well, I don't think if you don't hurry up and come to me, then you're not going to never come to me. And I managed a laundromat. I'd managed it for 15 years. So in the store and the laundromat was like made in the same building, but they had walls and doors up, so it made like different buildings, like little malls here, the little strip malls. But it was like So my best friend, she worked over there, but she had actually quit the week before. And so I went back over to the laundromat, and because he had called me on the store phone because I didn't have I hadn't bought no minutes for my phone. And so he told me that. So I went in there and thought about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it today. So I went in there, crazy me. I got my check for the week. Then I turned around and wrote a bad check for $300 and something. But I knew my check was coming the first of the month. And I was going to be honest about it. I was going to leave the money in the bank for the man to get it back out. You know, I told him if he needed to charge me anything, he couldn't. Now he said he just wanted his money back. So we got through that. There's no big deal about that. But I got down to Tuscaloosa. I got a friend to drive me to Tuscaloosa to the bus station. I called Ed and I said, guess where I'm at? And he said, where? I said, I'm at the Greyhound bus station. I'll be at your place in 3 days. And girl, I got here in 3 days. I was so scared. I said, well, he's going to see me and I'm fat. Is he going to want me? And blah, blah, blah. Girl, when I got out of that cab, the biggest smile was on this man's face I ever seen in my life. And you're here, you're my beautiful sweetie pie. And that's what he calls me now, his beautiful sweetie pie.
That is beautiful.
I have never known love like this before. It's 12 years tomorrow, our anniversary. And it seems like it's yesterday because every day he sends me a flower on my Facebook. Every day he tells me how beautiful I am about 5, 6, 10 times a day. He played like today. He played the saxophone. First song he ever sent me was him, on the microphone playing. First time ever I saw your face. And he played that for me all the time. He sang My Girl in a ceremony. And through the My Girl, he was singing My Girl. He was crying the whole time. And he's just the most magnificent man I've ever seen. I mean, I can't say enough.
You deserve it, Sherry.
He treats me like a
tissue, Jess. You got me tearing up here.
He is great. I mean, it's just like tomorrow is our anniversary. We're going to go have lunch. Then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a little get together here.
That's beautiful. That wants to
come, you know, and we just celebrate life. Every day is like a brand new romantic day. He calls it, what adventure are we going to do today? We go on adventures. We get on the city bus. It's an adventure. We'll do a scenario. We'll see a couple or a man or a woman or whatever, and we'll say where they're going and what they're doing. And we just every day it's just, I don't know, it's just sunshine. You know, my nickname is Sunshine, so it's just like sunshine every day. He's a great man.
That is so beautiful. And tomorrow's your anniversary, right?
Yes, tomorrow's our anniversary. He said that until he met me, the opposite was happening to him that happened to me. The ladies he was with would get him with him, they'd have a baby, then they'd leave him, child support. and they never wanted him for him, and so he had gave up. He said when he met me, he gave up. He didn't want to be with anybody else. And then here I said,
God sent. He was
yes,
God.
yes, yes.
That is your beautiful ending, and then an inspiring ending. Like we were talking before we went up. Excuse me, hold on a second. Let me get myself together. I said I wasn't gonna be no punk. We were talking before we went live. One of the reasons why I do this platform is because everybody has a story, just like you and I.
Yes.
Whether it's success, whether it's how we got to this success, what we went through, where we came from, our background, our history. Everyone has a story, whether you want to share it or not.
Yep.
But the beautiful thing about your story is, although as traumatic as it was, you have a beautiful ending. And I so appreciate that, because like I said earlier, I haven't found that yet in 21 years. I thought I
You
did,
will.
but
You will. There's
I
somebody for
wasn't
you.
quite there yet.
There's somebody
So,
for
yeah,
you, Demi. There's somebody for you somewhere.
I
God will
believe
send.
it is.
God will send him. What you say? God will send him.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even pray for him anymore, because God, we already had that conversation several times. And at the end of the day, he wants me to spend time with him. So that's what I do. I spend a lot of time with my heavenly Father, and I do what I do for my community and for me, because it's healing, not only healing my community, but it's healing me. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted to focus on this subject this month, because of my history. And I'm not doing anything unless I'm saving anyone. And you know what type of work I've done. And I've been saving lives all my life. Saving lives all my life. So my goal is to use this platform to do the same thing, although it's not. So I'm just thankful you have that beautiful end of the story. We couldn't have ended the show better.
Oh, thank
We
you.
couldn't have ended the show better. Um, I will ask you this. What do you, or would you say to a young Sherry?
Try to get the courage to get away. No matter what, get away. You don't
Yeah,
have to live like that. Get away. Get as far away as you can. If that's somebody in your town, county, or whatever can't help you, go. Just go. Just go till you find somebody. There's somebody. There's a church. There's a mission. There's a shade tree. There's a something somewhere that can help you. Now, no matter where you live, even in the little town I'm from, they've even got a little place now that helps ladies because there's so much of that going on. So there is
yeah,
places out there, and they will keep your secret, and they will help you. They will get you away. I wish that I had had that back then. But like you said, I went through this to appreciate what I got now. That's
absolutely.
the way I look at it.
And that's the bigger picture. I don't do this to make people cry. I don't do this to make people mad or angry. I don't do this. I do this because there's a beautiful at the end of the story.
Yes.
There is something for me. My beautiful is I have peace of mind. I don't have to get up and fight
Yeah.
nobody but myself.
Yeah. That's
Because
it.
trust me, I
That's
do
it.
a lot of that. I'll be like, girl, what's wrong with you? You tripping. But I don't have to physically fight a
That's it.
man or woman to have my peace of mind on a daily basis. That's my beautiful ending.
Yeah.
Until God says something else. That's my beautiful ending. Um, I really I'm just moved at how you eloquently told your story. I really appreciate you, Sherry.
Thank
Um,
you.
you've been through hell, and you deserve the happiness you
Thank you.
have. And all I ask you, Sherry, is when you look at yourself in the mirror, please see what I see and what Ed see and what your friends see is a beautiful, strong individual that went through but you wear your scars well.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I need you to do that for me. We're gonna keep in touch. I would love to come to the celebration, but I'm gonna be on your live. I'm gonna be on your lives.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
so make sure you post a lot of them. Tell
Thank
Ed
you.
I appreciate him for being a man. He is
Thank
a man. That's
thank
the
you.
kind of man we need.
Yes,
Okay, we
yes,
need
yes.
more men like Ed. So Ed, if you're listening, I love you, bro. Thank you for loving on my sister Sherry, and thank you for being the happy and beautiful ending to a traumatic experience. Thank you so much, Ed. Sherry, I'm gonna let you go. I'm
Okay,
gonna get a hold of you tomorrow. I'll probably text you
okay,
tomorrow. Happy anniversary, that kind of stuff.
okay. All right.
We're gonna talk again, okay? I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have anything that you want to add before
No,
you leave?
I just appreciate you having me and letting me talk a little bit. I mean, there was so much more to my story, but you can't just tell it all. But I just
You need
hope.
to write. You
Oh,
need to write.
I forgot to tell you this. I'm writing a book. I'm stuck,
Thank
but I'm
God.
writing a book, and the name of my book is going. I already got the name of my book. It's going to be Stuck in the Middle, and
Mm,
it's based on my life. I'm going to tell a lot of my life, but it's based on my life, and I don't mean to sound it like this way, but the only way I can sound it is because I'm with a black man, and I want people to see my story from me, how I get racism,
absolutely.
how I get racism from white people, I get racism from black people. So I'm stuck in the middle. Who wants to write me?
Wow.
So I've got about 6 chapters wrote, and I got a friend across my way over here. He is an author, and he has come proofread it and fixed some of it. So I've got 4 chapters ready to go. But I haven't found a
Wow.
publisher. I haven't got the money for all that yet. But I'm just writing. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
But
I get it. Well, I
yeah, I'm
support
writing a book.
you need any help, you give me a call. I have not released my books yet. That's coming. I'm not even going to get into that. I said I'm going to be about it rather than talk about it. But
Uh-huh.
you give me a call. You let me know if you get stuck on something. You want
Okay.
just some nuggets on what helped me get through the process. Because again, when you're reliving those traumatic times in your life, it gets really difficult. I mean, when I tell you I hit writer's block after writer's block
Yeah.
after writer's block, I put it down, threw it aside, and was like, I'm not doing it. But it has to be done.
Yeah,
So
it does.
really keep me posted on that. I'd like to hear about that.
It helps me a lot. That's my therapy because I went to
Yes.
therapists. They don't help, but that helps me. I just get to typing and here I am. And I'm just, yeah.
That's
Thank you.
great, Sherry.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for joining me tonight. I really
Thank
appreciate
you for
and love
having
you,
me.
girl.
Do I just click
I,
leave the studio or do you do it?
yeah, you could just go on and click in. Well, click out of the studio and then I'll go
Uh-huh.
on and end the show. I'll close the show out. Thank you so much. I love you, sis. And
Bye
congrats on you and its anniversary.
bye. Thank you.
Take care, Sherry. Wow, I have to get myself together. Let me get myself together. That was a lot. That was more than I thought I could handle today. But I'm gonna go on. I had a drink here the whole time. I'm gonna go on and that was a lot. That sometimes I sit back and I reflect on what I went through and I say, I I it wasn't when I hear other people's story like Sherry's, I'm like, whoa, my situation wasn't that crazy, but it was crazy. But at the end of the day, I went through it. So never think your situation is greater or bigger, smaller than anybody else's. Your story is your story. You went through that. You survived that. You escaped that. That's the important thing. That's the biggest thing. That was a lot. But I really appreciate Sherry shared her story. That was amazing. Let me see who's here. Hey, Sharon. Hey, sis. Thank you, sis. I'm like really like about to fall apart. Who else is here? Hey, Shoni. Yeah, God makes no mistakes, Shoni. Anyway, if you come in and watch this later, make sure you hit hashtag replay. Let me know you were here. And don't forget to share. Just because I'm off the air doesn't mean you can't share. So definitely share. We want to get this message out to as many individuals as we can from this point on. My goal is to save, again, I have been saving lives for 35 years. Some people may get tired of hearing me saying it. I am proud of what I did for a living. Okay. So I saved lives for 35 years in the medical profession. I loved every minute of it. Now that I'm no longer doing that, my goal is to continue on saving lives. And if that means sitting here every Wednesday or sitting on somebody's live talking or sitting on Steve Harvey, or is Oprah still around? Sitting on Oprah Winfrey, sitting on Ellen DeGeneres, that nabbit, I'm going to get on them shows and I'm going to keep talking until this thing stops. Domestic violence needs to stop. It's destroying our communities. It's destroying our children, and it's destroying individuals, good, loving, beautiful individuals. So, y'all, without further ado, I'm gonna go get myself together. I am Demi Hendrix, and this is Real Talk. Thanks for joining tonight. Smooches.